Spencer Tracy was one of the greatest actors of Hollywood's golden age, winning 2 consecutive Academy Awards for Captains Courageous and Boys Town. Known for his natural acting style and quiet intensity, he brought authenticity to every role. He formed a famous screen partnership with Katharine Hepburn, appearing together in 9 films. In his later years, despite declining health, he gave one of his most powerful performances in Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Tracy passed away shortly after filming, leaving a legacy of artistry and emotional honesty that shaped modern acting. Ava Gardner rose to stardom in the 1940s as one of MGM's most glamorous stars. Her striking beauty and sultry screen presence captivated audiences in films like The Killers, Mogambo, and The Barefoot Contessa. Though often typecast as a femme fatale, she proved her dramatic ability with acclaimed performances. Gardner's personal life, including high-profile marriages, made her a tabloid favorite, but in her later years, she chose a quieter life in London. She died at 67, remembered as one of the most alluring and talented actresses of her era. Yul Brynner became a global star with his unforgettable performance as the King of Siam in The King and I, a role he played over 4,000 times on stage and on film, winning both a Tony and an Oscar. His distinctive bald head and commanding presence made him instantly recognizable. Brynner also starred in The 10 Commandments and The Magnificent Seven. In his final years, he courageously battled lung cancer, famously recording a message warning against smoking. Even in death, Brynner remains an enduring symbol of charisma and strength. Claudette Colbert was one of Hollywood's top stars of the 1930s and 1940s, winning an Academy Award for It Happened One Night. Known for her sophistication, wit, and elegance, she excelled in both comedy and drama, appearing in Cleopatra, 1934, and Since You Went Away. Colbert's career spanned both Hollywood and Broadway, and she remained admired well into her old age. She lived to 92, embodying timeless grace and proving that her legacy extended far beyond the silver screen. Errol Flynn became synonymous with swashbuckling adventure during Hollywood's golden age. He thrilled audiences with films like Captain Blood, The Adventures of Robin Hood, and The Seahawk. Flynn's athleticism, charm, and devil-may-care attitude made him the definitive action hero of the 1930s and 40s. However, his hard-living lifestyle led to health problems, and he died at only 50. Though he never reached old age, Flynn's legendary performances continue to define the adventure genre. Joan Fontaine became a star under Alfred Hitchcock, delivering unforgettable performances in Rebecca and Suspicion, for which she won an Academy Award. Known for her poise and elegance, she often portrayed vulnerable but strong-willed women. Fontaine's rivalry with her sister, actress Olivia de Havilland, became one of Hollywood's most famous family feuds. In her later years, she lived privately but remained admired for her contributions to cinema. She passed away at 96, leaving behind a remarkable body of work. Rock Hudson rose to fame in the 1950s as a matinee idol and romantic leading man in films like Magnificent Obsession and Pillow Talk. Later, he earned respect as a dramatic actor in Giant, opposite Elizabeth Taylor and James Dean. In his final years, Hudson became one of the first major Hollywood figures to publicly acknowledge having AIDS, bringing worldwide attention to the crisis. He died. Burt Reynolds became one of the biggest box office stars of the 1970s with hits like Deliverance, Smokey and the Bandit, and The Longest Yard. Known for his charm, mustache, and action comedy roles, Reynolds became a pop culture icon. His career had ups and downs, but in the 1990s he earned critical acclaim and an Oscar nomination for Boogie Nights. In his later years, Reynolds continued acting and teaching, reflecting on a career full of highs, lows, and unforgettable moments. He passed away at 82, celebrated as a true Hollywood legend. Maggie Smith is one of Britain's most accomplished actresses, with a career spanning stage, television, and film. She won Oscars for the prime of Miss Jean Brodie and California Suite, and later gained international fame for Harry Potter as Professor McGonagall and Downton Abbey. Known for her wit and sharp delivery, Smith's performances remain iconic across generations. In her old age, she continues to be celebrated as one of the greatest living actresses, admired for her humor, intelligence, and unparalleled craft. Jerry Lewis became one of America's most beloved comedians, first as part of a duo with Dean Martin and later as a solo star. His slapstick humor and inventive style made films like The Nutty Professor enduring classics. Beyond comedy, Lewis was also a successful director and humanitarian, raising billions through his annual telethons for muscular dystrophy research. In his later years, he remained a public figure, admired for his contributions to both entertainment and charity. He lived to 91, remembered as a comedy genius who made the world laugh for decades. Gene Hackman is regarded as one of America's greatest character actors. He rose to fame with Bonnie and Clyde, 1967, and cemented his reputation with The French Connection, which earned him an Academy Award. Hackman's versatility allowed him to excel in thrillers, comedies, and dramas, with standout roles in Unforgiven, Hoosiers, and The Royal Tenenbaums. Known for his intensity and grounded performances, he retired from acting in the mid-2000s but remains admired for a career that spanned over 4 decades. James Mason was one of Britain's finest actors, known for his smooth voice and commanding presence. He appeared in more than 150 films, including A Star is Born, North by Northwest, and Lolita. Mason's ability to play both sympathetic and villainous characters made him highly sought after in Hollywood and Europe. In his later years, he continued to work steadily, admired for his professionalism and consistency. He passed away at 75, remembered as one of the most distinctive actors of his generation. Shelley Winters was a versatile actress who moved seamlessly from glamorous roles to gritty character work. She won 2 Academy Awards for The Diary of Anne Frank and A Patch of Blue. Winters appeared in over 100 films, including Lolita and The Poseidon Adventure. In her later years, she became a beloved acting teacher, passing on her knowledge to younger performers. Known for her outspoken personality, Winters lived fully both on and off screen, leaving a legacy of bold performances. Deborah Kerr was a Scottish actress admired for her grace and refined performances. She starred in classics like From Here to Eternity, The King and I, and An Affair to Remember. Nominated for 6 Academy Awards, she finally received an honorary Oscar in recognition of her distinguished career. In her later years, Kerr retired from acting and lived quietly, but her films ensured that her elegance and skill would be remembered for decades. Richard Harris was an Irish actor known for his intensity and powerful presence. He gained fame with This Sporting Life and went on to star in Camelot, A Man Called Horse, and Unforgiven. To younger audiences, he became beloved as the original Albus Dumbledore in the first 2 Harry Potter films. In his later years, Harris lived as passionately as he acted, maintaining a reputation as a larger-than-life figure. He passed away at 72, just after finishing work on Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Clara Bow was the original It Girl of the 1920s, embodying the spirit of the Jazz Age. As a silent film star, she captivated audiences in It and Wings, the first film to win the Academy Award for Best Picture. Her career was short-lived due to the transition to sound films and personal struggles, but she remained a cultural icon. Though she died at just 60, Bow is remembered as one of Hollywood's first true superstars, symbolizing freedom and modern womanhood. George C. Scott was an actor of fierce talent and uncompromising standards. He is best remembered for his Oscar-winning role as General George S. Patton in Patton. Known for his commanding presence and intensity, he also delivered acclaimed performances in Dr. Strangelove and The Hustler. Famously, Scott refused his Academy Award, criticizing the industry's competition for art. In his later years, he continued to act in both film and television, leaving a legacy of brilliance and independence. Myrna Loy became one of Hollywood's most beloved actresses, often cast as the perfect wife or witty socialite. She is best remembered for the Thin Man series, where her chemistry with William Powell delighted audiences. Loy also took on dramatic roles in films like The Best Years of Our Lives, earning respect for her range. In her later years, she dedicated herself to humanitarian work with UNESCO. She lived to 88, admired as the perfect wife on screen and a model of dignity in life. Mel Brooks is one of comedy's greatest creators, known for directing and starring in some of the funniest films ever made. With classics like The Producers, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, and Spaceballs, Brooks built a career on satire and irreverent humor. His ability to blend parody with intelligence made him unique in Hollywood. In his later years, he received numerous Lifetime Achievement Awards and continued writing and producing. Even in his late 90s, Brooks remains a beloved figure, admired for bringing joy and laughter to multiple generations. Shirley MacLaine began her career as a dancer before becoming one of Hollywood's most versatile actresses. She starred in The Apartment, Irma la Douce, and won an Academy Award for Terms of Endearment. Beyond acting, she became known for her outspoken spiritual beliefs, writing books on reincarnation and metaphysics. In her later years, she continued acting in films like Steel Magnolias and Downton Abbey. Her long career and unique personality have made her a true Hollywood original. Donald Sutherland has enjoyed a career spanning over 6 decades, known for his distinctive looks and powerful performances. He starred in MASH, Clute, Don't Look Now, and later appeared in the Hunger Games series as President Snow. Sutherland has worked in both mainstream and independent cinema, admired for his range and dedication to complex roles. In his later years, he received an Academy Honorary Award, cementing his legacy as one of cinema's most respected veterans. Leslie Nielsen began his career as a serious dramatic actor in films like Forbidden Planet, but he became world-famous as a comedian thanks to Airplane and the Naked Gun series. His deadpan delivery and impeccable timing made him a comedy legend. In his later years, Nielsen embraced his reputation as a master of parody, delighting audiences until his passing at 84. He remains an icon of comedic reinvention, proving that humor can come at any stage in life. Hedy Lamarr was not only a glamorous Hollywood actress but also an inventor whose work helped pave the way for modern Wi-Fi and Bluetooth technology. On screen, she dazzled audiences in Samson and Delilah and Ecstasy. Off-screen, she co-developed a frequency-hopping communication system during World War II. In her later years, Lamarr lived more privately, but eventually received recognition for her technological contributions. She passed away at 85, remembered as both a beauty icon and a brilliant mind. Dennis Hopper became a counterculture icon with Easy Rider, which he co-wrote, directed, and starred in. Known for his rebellious spirit, Hopper also appeared in Apocalypse Now, Blue Velvet, and Speed. His career was marked by highs and lows, including struggles with addiction, but he consistently reinvented himself. In his later years, he became respected as an artist and photographer in addition to acting. Hopper died at 74, leaving a legacy as one of Hollywood's most unconventional and daring talents. Maureen O'Hara was known as the Queen of Technicolor for her fiery red hair and passionate performances. She starred in The Quiet Man, Miracle on 34th Street, and How Green Was My Valley. O'Hara often played strong, spirited women, earning admiration for her ability to match wits with co-stars like John Wayne. In her later years, she received an honorary Academy Award for her contributions to film. She lived to 95, remembered as one of the great Irish icons of Hollywood. Eli Wallach was one of the most versatile character actors in Hollywood, best remembered as Tuco in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. He also appeared in The Magnificent Seven and The Godfather Part 3. Wallach's career spanned over 60 years, and he often played cunning, colorful characters that stole scenes from the leads. In his later years, he continued working well into his 90s, admired for his longevity and passion for acting. Gloria Swanson was a major star of the silent film era, known for her elegance and commanding presence. She made a triumphant return in Sunset Boulevard, playing Norma Desmond, a faded silent star, a role that mirrored her own career and earned her an Oscar nomination. In her later years, Swanson focused on painting and business but remained a celebrated figure in Hollywood. She lived to 84, remembered as both a silent screen queen and the unforgettable face of one of cinema's greatest films. Gregory Hines was one of the greatest tap dancers and performers of the 20th century. He brought tap back into the spotlight with films like White Nights and Tap, combining charisma, humor, and dazzling skill. Hines also worked on Broadway and won a Tony Award for his musical performances. In his later years, he acted in television and continued to mentor young dancers. Although he passed away at just 57, he left behind a legacy that reshaped how dance was celebrated in American culture. Ginger Rogers became an icon of the golden age of Hollywood, best remembered for her legendary dance partnership with Fred Astaire. Together, they created some of the most beloved musicals ever filmed, including Top Hat and Swing Time. Rogers also proved herself as a dramatic actress, winning an Academy Award for Kitty Foyle. In her later years, she worked in stage productions and television, admired as a versatile star whose career spanned more than 5 decades. Sidney Lumet was not an actor, but one of cinema's greatest directors, guiding performances that defined Hollywood history. He directed 12 Angry Men, Dog Day Afternoon, Serpico, and Network. Known for his socially conscious themes and ability to draw raw emotion from actors, Lumet shaped modern American film. In his later years, he continued working, receiving an honorary Academy Award for his lifetime achievements. He passed away at 86, leaving behind a body of work that still feels urgent and relevant. Jane Russell became a Hollywood star in the 1940s with her breakout role in The Outlaw. Known for her sultry looks and strong screen presence, she starred in musicals and comedies like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, alongside Marilyn Monroe. Off-screen, she was admired for her charity work and outspoken personality. In her later years, she embraced a quieter life but remained a beloved figure of classic Hollywood glamour until her passing at 89.